Hey, everybody. We are back with the Clydesdale Fitness and Friends. My name is Scott Switzer. I'm the Clydesdale. We love to do fitness, and these are my friends. We have Arielle and Dylan Lowen. Always a pleasure to catch up with them. How are you guys doing?
Great. How are you?
I am awesome.
Good.
Um, Arielle, you gave us a scare this year.
I did. I gave myself a scare, but in the best way possible because of the outcome.
True, true. But you had to go. Hi, Blakely.
Hey, Blakely, can you say hi? Can you wave your hand?
So we have a third person joining us tonight,
Yep,
Blakely
this is my
Lowen.
daughter, Blakely. She's 3 years old.
3 years old. Man,
hmm
I feel really old now. So I want to talk about let's walk through this, right? A lot of people are comparing your story to a fairy tale,
Right.
right? Um, and in the fairy tale of Cinderella, the clock strikes 12 and the story's over. But in your story, you actually had a really good off season. You went to Rogue, you went to Wadapalooza, you podiumed at Wadapalooza, and so the fairy tale's going on after your CrossFit Games experience, which was your first year, kind of out of the blue, completely surprised. You're riding the high and you're coming into the open season, and everything seems to be going really well through opening quarters. Am I on track yet still?
Oh, yeah. My best open and best quarterfinals, hands down.
And so then you get to Syndicate Crown, the first week of the semis. I run into you guys a couple times. You seemed like in good spirits going in. You seemed like everything was great. And then what happened that weekend that surprised you?
I think a lot surprised me. Number one, I knew the workouts were good, but they weren't by any means a strong suit for me. So I knew I was going to have to fight all weekend. And then the girls at Syndicate were just really good that weekend. And I had to be even better, but they all kind of rose up to the challenge. And you look at the top five, none of them really had any mistakes. I almost needed one of them to make a mistake so I could get in, but they were just all super consistent and really good. So it just put me in a pickle that I just couldn't work my way out of.
What I found as an observer very interesting is the barbell complex led off the weekend,
Right.
and all of the big names struggled with that, right? So it wasn't just you in a pickle. It was Christy O'Connell. It was Haley Adams. You're all fighting for that. And there's names up on the leaderboard that frankly, most people have never heard of.
Yeah, they were strong.
And so Dylan, as the husband, what's going through your head as the weekend's progressing?
Man, so like you were saying, like we rode a super big high through the off season, and I've touched on it with Ariel a little bit, but one thing she I think lacked going in through a lot of this was confidence, and she got a lot of confidence through the off season, and she did go into the syndicate super confident. I don't know if there's a time that she's probably been more confident going into a competition, and I think that's super important to have the confidence going into any kind of competition or just anything you do. For instance, with your podcast, you have to be confident in what you do if you want to do well at it. But I also think there's a line that you have to ride on that confidence. And I don't want to say what set would say like a shoe in for the games, but she definitely thought that
I expected.
she expected that she was gonna be at the games for sure. And I think honestly there was maybe a tad bit of overconfidence to where she, of course, she worked hard, but every athlete there works really hard. I think I think every athlete is deserving of a game spot because I see how much, effort Arielle puts in, and I know they all do that. And it is gut wrenching when something doesn't go to plan and you don't make it to the game. So I just felt like confidence is great, but you still have to have that hunger. And I think, if we look like maybe at Tia, she is really confident, but I think she stays so hungry that she doesn't let that confidence overshadow that, and she is hungry to always like prove herself. And so I just think Arielle came into this maybe a little overconfident and just knew that or I just feel like she got humbled in a good way, that it takes, more than just being, like overly confident to make it to the next stage. So she definitely got the confidence, but I don't know. I don't know exactly where I'm 100% going with that, but
I think you've said it really well, because it actually matches some of my notes here, right? And so one question I had for you is, do you think at any point you were playing it safe?
I wouldn't say necessarily playing it safe, but like, oh, okay, I got 6th in this workout. That's a good score. Okay, I got 7th in this workout. That's a good score. Not like clawing my way for top 5 finishes as much as I should have.
And the reason I asked that is last year when you were at Granite Games, it was all new. You never had the games before. So there was no fear of losing it because you never had it.
Right.
Right. This year, you know what it is now. You've had it before and you won it again. And it's an adage in all sports, right? You play not to lose instead of playing to win.
Right. Yeah, when
and
it was like, I just
want
want
to come back and bite you.
Spot. Yeah, exactly. But I'm so glad it did, because I was kind of like chilled all weekend. Even if I would have got 5th place, it's so much more satisfying what happened with the Last Chance Qualifier, qualifying that way, than it would have been, hey, I got 5th place. I got by through the claw, or like the skin of my teeth. Now it's, I fought for it, and I feel super confident going into the games because I've worked hard.
Yeah, I think it was a great humbling experience. Like I was just kind of, pointing out, is I felt she did come in a tad bit overconfident. And I think it just kind of humbled her in that experience, that it still takes like super hard, like you're saying, you got to claw, or Arielle was saying, you got to claw your way, up every workout to get to the games. It's by no means an easy feat.
Yeah. And I like how you said, you talk about confidence, because it's fragile too. Confidence can come and go. You used my podcast as an example. I have a bad show and all of a sudden, like, I start questioning myself, right? I've done 400 of these. I'm going to have a bad show, but it doesn't mean that, and I should be confident, but it doesn't mean that it stays there. Right. But what is beautiful is you go to the Last Chance Qualifier and you put on a show. Like, it wasn't just by the skin of your teeth. It was, this is mine and I am taking it.
Right. Almost to the point to where it was like, in some workouts, it was by 1 rep that I won, and in some by it was like 10 seconds. But it was like, I don't care. I want Dylan, when he was cheering, he would say, I want to leave no doubt. Like, one of those spots, if I'm going to earn it, I want to earn it fair and square.
Yeah, it was just beautiful to watch, right? You won by 40 points. There was no doubt. You won 3 of 4 events. And I would say, going in, I was probably, following your career, I was probably most confident in event 2 for you.
Yep.
Same.
We all were. That's the one event I expected, like, oh, okay, I would expect to win this. And it was the one event I did not.
Right. Like, it's crazy. And you dominated some of those. So it was, it just was beautiful to watch. Because I tell people, I was watching Savon one night, and they were talking about you. Yeah. How that Arielle is the people don't realize how fast she is on her hands.
Yep. Yep.
And I had the privilege of being right beside her at lane 10 at Syndicate when she crushed that workout. And I was like, they were not even mentioning her as someone fast on their hands. And that's when I piped in, and they actually put it up.
Yeah,
I saw that. I mentioned it to her that you had given her a shout out that Arielle took second at the Syndicate. She's pretty fast on her hands, you know, and that was 400 meters, I think, of running on your hands. So running on your hands.
400 feet.
Yeah. Oh, 400 feet. You're right.
But
you're talking about these feet on our feet.
So
super impressive.
Are you glad it turned out that way, that the workout you were most confident in wasn't necessarily your best workout?
I don't know. It was just a weird one because I PR'd my row. My old row PR was like 7:40. I got off the rower at like 7:25. More time than I expected to have. It was just so surprising that I was like, oh, this one's easily. I got off the rower fast. That means I can walk on my hands fast. But just seeing like a little bit of that confidence that like the other girls are that good too. They're getting off the rower at the same time and still moving fast. I wasn't going as fasted as I anticipated, I think.
So we talked about that event with Emily on Tuesday night on this show. And she said that she was talking to you. Oh my goodness.
Speaking of the Rolfs, this is for Kyle.
Will you accept this rose?
Will you accept my rose?
Oh my goodness.
You get it.
You get it.
Yeah.
You get it.
Oh, I know. I totally get it. For the listeners that are not familiar with Kyle and Emily Rolf, Kyle and Dylan are soulmates.
Yeah.
And they are to have a rose ceremony, I believe, at the CrossFit Games.
This is
at least Kyle's hoping. Kyle's hoping for a rose ceremony at the CrossFit Games.
Right.
Sorry I interrupted you there. As soon as you talked about the Rolfs, I just had to bring the rose out.
Your prop.
Yeah, so we talked to Emily, and she said that you gave her a time on the row, and she was like, no, that is way too slow.
I told her, I was like, my goal is to get off about 7:40 at the fastest. And she was like, Arielle, that has to be at the slowest. She's like, you need to shoot for 7:30 to 7:40. If you get off after 7:40, you're not going to get top 5 in this event. And I was just like, oh, that was harsh, but I needed to hear that because she's a good rower. So I wanted to hear the approach of a good rower. How would they attack this workout? Because that's how some of my competitors are.
She didn't ask my advice.
I trusted Emily. She didn't let me down. It was great.
I think one thing I learned with the Rolfs on Tuesday night is they are very much strategists.
Kyle, especially.
Yeah, Kyle definitely, I think he puts a lot of effort into what they do. And you can definitely see that when he's talking, statistics on how long everything should take. Because when me and him talk, he's like, this should take that long, this should take that long. There's probably a pretty good time.
He actually got in my head a little bit. The first Last Chance Qualifier workout was the bar muscle up and thrusters. And I had done it that night and gotten 29 reps. And Dylan told Kyle, and Kyle was like, oh, I don't know if that's good enough. She might need to redo that one. And so it put it in my head like, do I need to redo this workout? Do I need to be shooting for 30 to 40 reps? And then can you imagine if I would have redone it? If I would have won it and then redid it, got more reps and just won. But he was so strategizing it that he made us second guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people, a lot of the analysts were looking more at 40 reps as what it would take to win. So the fact that you won at 29, and I'm glad you didn't redo it.
Oh my goodness, me too. Holy moly.
So Kat just popped in that my favorite part of Last Chance was hearing Dylan say, smooth as fast, baby.
After watching those, I'm like, man, that guy is so annoying.
So they posted the workouts on the CrossFit Games YouTube for people to watch. You wouldn't get how many people commented like, I wonder how many times this guy says baby. Can you get that one guy to be quiet? Because he's right by the camera.
And I agree.
Dylan's passionate.
I agree 100%. That guy needs to be quiet. But I'm in the zone. Nobody understands when Arielle is doing her workout. There's actually a few instances where
Two instances
where Arielle is being a mom during the workout. I'm supposed to be a dad, but I'm being a cheerleader.
The last 150 meters of my PRing my 2K, I'm rowing, and Blakely's sobbing her eyeballs out. And nobody pays attention because they're all cheering me on. I'm all just like, Dylan, Blakely, help her. I'm just like dying.
So yeah, if you go back and rewatch the video, you'll actually hear for the last 200 meters, I'm not cheering at all. You're like, oh man, it's blissfully quiet here. It's because actually I had to go be a dad because Arielle pointed out that our daughter was crying.
I think it just got too loud for her.
Yeah, it just got really loud in there for her. She's not too big of a fan of loud noises. So.
And then on the burpee box jump over workout, the final one, I'm on my second set of 50, and I'm so used to working out and just checking on my kid because she's in the kid room. And so I'm on my burpee box jump overs, and I look over, and Blakely's by the door crying. So I'm like jumping over my box and like pointing to the door, like, someone help, I'm not going to stop right now. But Dylan got that signal, and we were good.
Moral of the story, I'm a good cheerleader, but a bad dad.
Whatever.
Well, I want to say a couple people have yelled hi. Matt Ruiz in the comments.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Matt.
Arielle's coach.
Yeah.
Kat Shear, and we got Dudley Walden saying, always a mom first.
Yep. That's true.
So let's talk about Matt, because he's a newer coach for you, right? Like since last season, you started working with Matt. What has that change been like for you?
It's been effortless. And like, I kind of lose track of how long he's been my coach because it just seems like it's been forever. But I always tell everybody, Matt just has such a servant heart. So what immediately like drew me to Matt and his personality was we'd show up to do the workouts and he would set everything up for us. We'd finish the workouts. He'd help us clean up, put it away, which seems so little, but it's just like he's a team player. He's not going to show up and be too good to do anything. Like he's very good at his programming. And even if you watch the Last Chance Qualifier workouts, I would show up to the gym. He would have everything set up. I would lay on the floor. He would film it, measure it, just very servant, which is just so refreshing. And it's what I need. I need someone who will show up and be there in my corner. So it's exactly what I need in a coach.
Yeah, I mean, he's there every day for Arielle, so.
And he's got a full-time job. He has a family. It's not like he
definitely, he's definitely a blessing and just takes a lot of time out of his life. Like Arielle said, he's got a family. He's got 3 kids and a wife, and he's got a full-time job, and he's there every day helping Arielle train, so definitely a blessing for Matt.
Yeah. And he's great because I could be like, hey, my back hurts today. Let's not do dumbbell snatches. Okay, what should we change it to? Whereas some coaches would be like, this is my programming. What do you mean you're not going to do this? Just the level of comfortability we have with each other.
Yeah, and I think people underestimate the relationship between athlete and coach, right? It has to be a give and take. And it's important because that's who you're depending on for your profession.
Right.
And they have to buy in just as much as you do.
Yeah, and they kind of don't get the same glory because they're kind of in the background.
Yeah. I think that's changing in CrossFit. I think over the last couple of years, some of the coaches are getting a little more notoriety. And I truly believe it was the 2020 games where all the only people allowed on the competition floor or in the area were one coach and the athlete because of COVID. Yeah. So the documentary filmed the coaches yelling at the athletes or doing strategy with the athletes. And I think people love that. And now people are looking to see who the coaches are.
Yeah.
And also, I would want to just say like a shout out to Joel Hughes. I don't know if you know Joel, former
Yeah, he does.
2019 Master Games champ. Also, Arielle's training partner. He shows up, every day to help Arielle train as well. So she just has
I have a good team
she has
around
a
me.
really great team around her and a great community. And I just think that's like really important for her success that she's had. It's so I just want to give praise to those people because I don't think without them we would be here having this conversation at all.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I think I don't remember when I told Arielle, but I ran into Joel at TFX.
You did say that.
He actually came up to me to say, "Hey, aren't you the guy who interviewed Arielle?" And then we got to talking, and he told me he was her training partner. He left out the part that he was a CrossFit Games champion.
Yep. Classic Joel. He's so humble.
Joel, he's a humble guy.
We do have a funny story for you about him, though. Kind of about all of it. So Joel is very humble. On the way back from Syndicate, wouldn't you know? Do you know Noah Dean? He's usually an announcer at most of the Texas competitions. He was the Granite Games announcer and the MAC and the Syndicate with the cowboy hat. He's on our flight. So is Medeiros. I'm on the flight and Joel Hughes. So Noah Dean comes walking down the airplane. We're all sitting in our seats. Noah Dean purposely gets on last. And he goes, "Holy crap, it's Justin Medeiros, the fittest man in the world. Everybody, round of applause." They all clap. He walks about for 5 more seconds. "Holy crap, it's Arielle Lowen, the fittest mom in America." Everybody on the plane claps. Keeps walking, and then he gets to Joel Hughes. Joel hates being called out like this. "Holy crap, it's Joel Hughes, the 2019 Masters champ." So everybody on the plane was just like, what is going on? But it was so funny. Yeah. It was pretty funny.
I actually asked Joel to do an interview with me at TFX, and he said, no, you don't want, I'm not interesting enough.
He is. He is interesting.
He's the most interesting man in the world.
Eats his steak with ketchup sometimes. That is interesting.
Disgusting, maybe. Interesting.
Debatable.
So I want to talk about Blakely a little bit. You're a mom. You're a mom first. It's evident in everything you do. How do you balance training time, Blakely, and a husband that works all day?
Husband's the easy part. He keeps himself busy. I like to think like I train a lot different than most great CrossFit Games athletes. So I'm in the gym right now from 11 to 1, 11 to 1:30. So you're talking 2 hours, 2.5 hours in the gym. The gym I go to is great. They have a kids room. There's a lady named Miss Brandy who walks in there, will help me. There's a glass door. So middle of the workout, I can look over and make sure Blakely's okay. So I actually have it great, being that I don't train crazy hours and being that Blakely is awesome and she'll be content with toys, with a snack, and just kind of playing, especially if there's other kids in there. So the balance part has actually been pretty nice, but now that game season is kind of ramping up a little bit, I will take help. Like my mom will come in this weekend. She'll help me take care of Blakely. My sister will help me. So I have, like you said, I have a great team around me that knows when I need help, but I also try not to be at the gym for 5 hours a day while my daughter just sits there and watches me work out. I've got a nice little balance.
So what I meant about Dylan is not that he needs taken care of. Maybe he does. I don't know.
I do.
What was more that because of his profession, he's not home a lot during the day. So you are left as kind of the sole provider for your daughter. But then you have this community, which I guess is what I'm getting at, that you lean on.
And what's nice, because he works so hard, before I even started to become this CrossFit Games athlete, I was a stay-at-home mom because he works hard, so I don't have to. So him providing for us lets me kind of like live my dream before it was a dream. But I do still cook dinner most nights. Yeah. So I still take care of him just a little bit.
Yeah. She makes it hard to lose weight.
I want to say Matt has jumped in again and can't believe that Arielle went with the ketchup and steak story.
He knows. He was there.
Yeah, it's
And-
that Joel would eat ketchup with steak. I'm not gonna lie.
Our friend Tom Lennon from Type 1 Lifting wanted to congratulate you on making the games as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
So speaking of Dylan's hard work, you're in a house. Are you in the house?
No, we broke
This
in.
isn't the house,
We broke into this house.
but after the games, it will be the house.
But you're there now.
No, so this is actually her sister and my sister-in-law's house that we're using. Brother-in-law.
Yeah,
Sister-in-law.
we're gonna go to our house. Her house is a little bit closer, so we made this work for tonight.
So
Okay.
actually, the thing was, after Arielle was going to be done with the Last Chance Qualifier, if she didn't get that spot to go to the game, her job was going to be to start cleaning our house.
It's dirty.
That's all we need right now, from all the dust from, construction and everything. It just needs a good cleaning.
You want to talk about motivation? Just kidding.
Yeah. That's the only reason she made it to the games, because she did not want to clean the house. So actually now I hired my dad's girlfriend to clean the house for us, and so she's going to, over the next 2 weeks, get a deep cleaning. And then since it's so close to games time, we're just going to wait until after the games and then finally move in. So I'm only a year behind schedule, but better late than never.
That's right.
Yeah, I was going to tell our audience that if you don't know, Dylan has been working on this house for 17 years now. And
his whole life.
My whole life.
And it's almost done. It's almost done.
It is. We're literally just missing carpets. That's it.
Yeah, they're going to put carpet in next week, and then done cleaning, and we're going to be in that puppy.
And I know that someone's going to be very happy when that happens.
Oh yeah, Blakely.
Yeah.
We actually haven't decided. We're not big animal people, so like we won't have dogs in the house or cats in the house. We're still debating letting Blakely in the house because she gets a little crazy. I'm just kidding.
Actually, I'm debating whether Arielle or Blakely can come to the house. I said they can live at my dad's, and I will live at our house.
You say this with the silhouette of a black cat in the window behind you.
I know. Yeah, he's a superstar. That's my sister's cat. No, but we've worked hard for that house.
I want to go back to your relationships that you've built over the last year. Last year, you were a rookie at the games. You didn't know a lot of people in the sport, I'm guessing.
Mm-mm.
You've made a lot of friends in a year.
Oh, Scott, you wouldn't believe it. The Last Chance Qualifier, it warmed my heart. Like how many, to me, people I look up to reached out to me. Like Haley Adams, Brooke Wells, Emma McQuaid, Christy O'Connell, like all these people, Emily Rolfe. Well, we're already friends. Carrie Pierce. Just people that I look up to more than they know messaged me through Instagram, just being like, give it all you've got. You've got this, I have no doubt, which just warmed my heart. That even just knowing them for one season, they would take the time out of their day to think of me and message me that I've got this. It's amazing.
It is great to see the CrossFit community like that, because we've never experienced that, and to know these, big names to be watching Arielle and just to take the time out of their day to reach out to Arielle. And I think the biggest thing to me is just the belief that they have in Arielle, because like the ones she named, they believe that she could win it, and that competition was stacked, So that was really awesome to see those people reach out to Arielle. I kept telling her, I was like, you better message them back and thank them for their believing in you.
Yeah, it was one of those, they would message and I'd screenshot it and just be like, how is this happening right now? This is too cool.
I love that there's still a little bit of a fangirl left in you through this whole process.
Oh, yeah.
You've had a lot happen in a year. We've talked about this a couple times, right? Yeah. You went from relative unknown to Granite Games champion to top 20 at the games, podium at Wadapalooza. You've got to do a lot of fun things in the last year. What's the
Yeah.
highlight of that?
Honestly, this is gonna sound cheesy, but before traveling and stuff like this, me and Dylan really didn't go on any vacations, nor did we have any like alone time because we have a kiddo. So me and Dylan have gotten to go on so many vacations. To me, they're vacations, and I'm the one doing the hard work. But just like hanging out and going to a new city and exploring and meeting new friends with my husband, it's just so much fun. So CrossFit's helped me do that, but I wouldn't even say it's like the CrossFit part of it.
And that was my guess. Getting
Yeah.
to know you over the last year, I didn't think it would be anything on the floor. I thought it would be
No.
something outside.
Oh yeah, it's been so much fun. And then I think now that I have friends going back to the games, like Dylan has friends too, like with Kyle, and then Haley Adams
Just Kyle.
when she messaged me, she was like, "I can't wait to see Dylan. I've got so many dad jokes for him." At Syndicate, Dylan would just like tell all these dad jokes. We're checking in when athletes have to come through the Syndicate, you have to go through security. Dylan's never talked to Haley Adams before. I'm kind of standing behind her like, "Hey Haley, I don't know if you remember me." Dylan looks at the security card and then looks at Haley Adams and he's like, "Are you not going to check her permit?" And Haley looks at him like, "What the heck?" And he's like, "The permit for those guns." And then Haley just cracks up. So after that moment, him and Haley would just like tell little dad jokes back and forth all weekend. So just like seeing those kind of relationships just like warms my heart. Sweet.
I got a dad joke for you, Dylan. You ready?
Let's hear it.
I might steal it.
I stunned my wife with it over the 4th of July weekend. So we went back to Pennsylvania. We're going past a cow field, and you know the hay that is rolled up.
Yes, sir.
I said to my wife, "You know those are illegal now." And she said, "They are?" I'm like, "Yeah, they're illegal now." She goes, "Why?" And I'm like, "Because the cows aren't getting a square meal."
I like that.
That's good.
Man, you make that up on the fly?
I think I heard it a while ago and just I brought it back from the dead.
I like it.
I like it. That was a good one.
That is good.
Yeah, I've been a dad for it'll be 21 years this month, and so I
Wow.
got lots of dad jokes.
There you go. Well, if I ever run short, I might give you a holler.
Yeah.
So we've talked in the past about Jesus being number one in your life. Through all this stuff, all the super high highs of the last year, the low of the Syndicate Crown, how do you make sure that he stays there?
I think it's a daily thing. Just like keeping your focus every day you're in the word, and it helps like your glasses. That's like your lens that you see everything through. Because even every day of the Last Chance Qualifier, it's easy to get overwhelmed. It's easy to put too much pressure on myself. But every day, I feel like God would give me a verse of peace or comfort that just helped me remember like my identity isn't wrapped up in Arielle Lowen games athlete. It's who I am as a mother, as a wife. I think just staying in the word and keeping my focus right has really helped.
Yeah, I think to touch on that, last week was it when the Last Chance Qualifier happened? It feels so long ago. That was so exhausting.
It was exhausting.
I ain't gonna lie, I felt very terrible 2 days after that.
Says the guy just cheering and watching on.
Yeah, right? No, I'm telling you, Scott, from like 12 till 3 when the leaderboard was finalized,
So much anxiety.
Dylan's heart was probably like 150 beats per minute.
I was sick Saturday and Sunday because I just think I've never felt that kind of anxiety my whole life. But to touch back on kind of just keeping Jesus as number one is, I didn't even mention this to Arielle, but every Thursday night we have a Bible study with some of our family and some of our friends, and I was kind of telling, in my mind I was thinking like maybe we should cancel that so Arielle can rest and be prepared for Friday, but like I I didn't even want to, I thought about asking her about that, but then I'm like, the whole reason we are here in this moment is because God ordained it, in my opinion. And I wasn't about to put CrossFit over God. And so I had that moment and that thought, and then I rationalized it. And I'm like, I'm not about to put CrossFit in front of God. And so I didn't even mention that to Arielle, but that was a thought I had. And I think it's just like she said, daily being in the Word, and just in instances like that is we keep God number one, and not now just because of this situation we're gonna cancel a Bible study, which it might be minimal, but if we did that, then we're putting CrossFit over God. So just making sure that He stays number one for sure.
Do you have quiet time every day that you do this, or do you do this together?
I do it personally alone.
She does it personally alone. So I admire Arielle so much because I do see her dedication to the Lord. I lack in that area. That's something that I tried to work on.
Yours is different though. Like he'll listen to scripture while he's working through his headphones. So it looks different for everybody. It's just when you have time.
Yeah. So, but definitely, I mean, it is one of the things I admire most about Arielle is her commitment to reading the Word, because those are the words of God. We can't get any closer to our Creator than through the Bible that He has, the words that He's written. And so just seeing Arielle's commitment every morning that she reads the Word and is in it, definitely is very, what would be the word, admiring. So it helps me want to be a better follower, of Christ. So, but definitely just learn from the best right here.
We had Alex Gazan on. We had Alex Gazan and her husband Jake on Monday, and his job takes him away for 4 months of the year because he works in California. Wow. She's living in Vegas, and they make sure that they pray together every night before bed.
That's sweet.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Just to kind of keep that connection together and with God all in one.
That's great.
Yeah. So we've, go ahead, Scott.
I was just gonna say, I was going to steal that for me and my wife. I think that's a cool thing to maybe try.
It is.
It is. Yeah, it definitely is. I think, man, not only is that going to help you grow with God, but that's going to help you grow with your partner. It's an amazing thing for sure. One thing me and Arielle do every time before a prayer, and it's not just a prayer for her to do well, but it's being thankful for our blessings, for these opportunities we get, and it's also a prayer for other athletes, because we do want everybody to do well and everybody to be healthy and safe. At the end of the day, like we were talking about before, with all these people reaching out and stuff, it is a community. So that prayer is not just for Arielle. It is for the whole CrossFit community as a whole. And so, and I've gotten to see that through actually some of the other athletes that they get together and they'll have prayer before or something, and it is really cool to see God working. And I forgot who mentioned it a while back ago, but there is a lot of faith in CrossFit. It's awesome to see God working in those ways.
I love it. I love that so many people are open with their faith in this sport. It makes it so easy to follow and so easy to like people. I mean, not that I don't like all people, but how that came out. Anyway,
nobody's perfect, man. Yeah. Nobody's perfect.
I want to talk about going to the games this year. Last year was your first year. You probably didn't know what you were getting into. A 15 event. I don't know how many 15 event competitions you've ever done in your life. I'm guessing that was the one. What are you doing differently this year to make sure that you are as prepared as possible, both from an athletics physical standpoint and mental, nutritional, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, last year, like you said, was the first. You don't know what to expect, so you kind of just do everything. Last year, I got shingles leading up to the games. I was very stressed. I wasn't in a good mental spot. There's a lot going on. So this year, I feel like it's a whole new season. Like, I can't believe I only have, 3.5 weeks, and I feel good physically. I feel good mentally. So it's really just riding that Last Chance Qualifier wave, because the programming I was doing before the Last Chance Qualifier really prepared me for that. So I'm going to do the same programming with like a sprinkle of some other stuff, and really just go into the games feeling good and knowing that these girls are human. And like now I understand, like, come Sunday, we're all going to be sore. We're all going to be beat up. We're all going to be broken. And that's part of the journey along the way. I just know what to expect in a way. And I'm so excited mentally and physically. But I will say, so we have, I don't know if you've seen on Instagram, we have what's called the Lion's Den at our house. So we'll move our dining room table and we'll pull out our echo bike, our rower, and ski erg, and we'll do 30 minutes straight of just cardio machine work.
Put a whooping on Arielle.
Whatever. So
Whooping.
after the Last Chance Qualifier, after I made it, we're like, okay, we're going to continue doing this because it's helped so much. And Tuesday was the first time doing it again. And I just, like, right before it started, I was just smiling. And Dylan's like, why are you happy? And I was like, I'm just so thankful I get to train for the games and do this Lion's Den workout again. So each workout of each day, I'm going to have that same mentality of like, I'm so thankful I get to train because I'm training because I'm into the games. And every athlete would kill to be in that position.
So Kat jumped in with, did she say shingles?
Shingles, yeah.
I heard that's really painful.
I actually thought I got a rash from the lake, swimming in the lake, but turns out it was shingles.
Yeah, I got them when I was in my 20s.
Okay.
It was one of the most painful things I ever went through.
Really itchy? Mine was really itchy.
No, mine was so sore to the touch. It was under my arm.
That's where mine was,
down
right
through
here. Yeah.
And when my arm touched my body, like, it hurt bad.
Oh. See, mine was just extremely itchy.
Yeah.
That's no good.
That was crazy.
She also Googled this, and when we Google things, next thing you know, we're gonna die.
Yeah.
So
But it was no good.
But I mean, we did have, my cousin,
a doctor look at
my
it.
My cousin is what is she?
A PA.
A PA, and she did say that they were shingles. So
yeah.
Google confirmed it.
Yeah, got to Google it. It was bubonic plague on Google.
Yeah. Yeah, and so another thing, kind of just touch on that is like preparation for the games. I think last year, it being the first year and not knowing what to expect, and you also want to do well, it being your first year. I really want to emphasize to Arielle, especially like, being thankful that we get to just be there, is you still want to do well, but I want her to have fun this year. Because who knows how many more times this is going to be a possibility. We literally got in there by the skin of our teeth this year. And so I just really want her, especially now that she has friends at the games, I want her to have fun at the games. And I think that could do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So Kat says, I'm guessing you have a high pain tolerance. And I think that's her way of saying Scott is a wuss.
Oh, man.
And then Tom from Type 1 Lifting says, does Dyllon have an MD in Google?
I do. I use it every day.
We actually, on the way up here, he's like, I think I have mold poisoning. Google the symptoms.
My dad we had a leak over at my dad's. And so the water was kind of dripping behind the sheetrock for like a week or so before I had time to fix it. And I had been getting a few little headaches here, and I was like, hey, Google the symptoms of mold. And so she was all Googling it, and I was like, are there headaches in there? Are there headaches?
There's headaches. I have mold poisoning.
I don't think it's mold poisoning. I just think it would state
I
that
know.
maybe there is mold there,
Excuse
but
me.
it didn't seem like that was the issue. That's just, I think, honestly, still residual from the anxiety that I had from the Last Chance Qualifier. I'm telling you, it wiped me out.
Dylan, I use that same story when my wife talks about her pregnancy, about how it was so hard on me, and she, I think, wants to punch me every time I do that. So just be careful.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I like it.
She doesn't know what I went through.
You're right. I have no idea.
So the games are coming. You get to do things that you don't get to do any other time of the year.
Yep.
You know, you get the odd objects, you get the strongman, you get the swimming, you get the long runs. What are you looking forward to the most?
Well, I really hope there's a pool swim this year. I'll be very excited if there's no open water in the yucky lake. But I'm excited I'm hoping there's some good running events. I feel like they haven't tested running throughout any of the stages that I've been to besides shuttle runs. Looking forward to some running events. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens this year at the games. I feel good. Like I'm ready to go and see where I stack up. I want to do a little bit better than last year, which was 14th. So I'm excited to see where the cards fall.
She said number 1. Don't laugh, Scott. Then we know that it's a joke.
Scott's a realist. Yeah. We're all realists.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
No, there's comments coming in. Women have no idea how bad it is on a man when he is sick. And so I don't know how to phrase this, right? So if you would have made it into the games at Syndicate in 5th place, would you have been as confident as you are today after killing the Last Chance Qualifier?
Not at all. I'm so thankful I didn't make it because it allowed me to like look at some holds I had personally, like big sets of chest to bar. I need to work on this. So it allowed me to kind of reevaluate things. So when the Last Chance came around, I was attacking those things. And I worked, I feel like really hard between Syndicate and the qualifier that it kind of proved I don't want to say I know what I'm doing. I know what I need to work on, and I worked on it and it worked out good. So it definitely gave me some confidence. No.
How blessed are you that you were in the first week of the semis to have 4 weeks to prep for the Last Chance?
I know. So I had like 1 week of mental feel sorry for yourself. And then the next 3 weeks were like, get over it. Let's train.
I think what they call that 1 week to feel sorry for yourself, the man flu.
Yeah. But not nearly as bad. Yeah. I felt bad for the athletes who had to turn around and just compete in the Last Chance. Because mentally that would be really hard.
Yeah, I think I look at it 2 different ways. Like if it wasn't in your mind that you were going to the games and you made it into that spot as a goal, you're kind of still in that shape to keep moving. But if it was a disappointment, that takes some recovery.
And that qualifier was stacked. Like I feel so proud the place I did because of how many good athletes were in there.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of comments about that. There are people that it just blows my mind. Chloe Wilson's average finish at Granite Games was 6.3.
Yeah, that's wild.
If in any other competition, you're in the top 5 easy. And Granite Games was so stacked there. And then she goes to the Last Chance Qualifier, and it may have been worse. We lost your internet for a second. So we have a frozen screen, Um, yeah, I don't think I've ever had one freeze up this long. All right. So, yeah, it's been super fun having Arielle and Dylan on. They are amazing people. I'm so glad they took some time out to do this. They actually fully disconnected, so it looks like something really went wrong on their end. Arielle, I think, should be commended at what the recovery she did to get back to the Last Chance Qualifier in the shape she did and to dominate the way she did over some of the biggest names in the sport. We are so excited to have them on. I'm glad you joined us tonight, and we will see you next time. And my co-host is telling me to hang on and hope they come back. I will do that. She knows that riffing is like one of the least qualified things I am at. That's why I have co-hosts. So, anyway, guys, what's going on? I know I saw some chat about, there was another drug pop today at over in the UK. One of their members in his statement said hand on heart, never took anything. His teammates all made separate posts about that, but the appeal process isn't even fast enough to get through before they go back to the games, before they would have to go to the games. So their season is over with them. We talked this afternoon on our show about Danielle Brandon and underdogs parting ways. That was pretty big news this close to the games, but we wish both of them the best. And Arielle has made it back on.
Yay!
Yay!
There you
Sorry
go.
about that.
Not a problem. I was riffing, which is what I'm terrible at.
Whatever.
I love talking to people. I don't like talking to myself.
No, I don't blame you.
So where you cut out was, what are you looking forward to most at the games? You said like running. And then we were talking about Granite Games, how Chloe Wilson, for an example, went 6.3, and then even probably a harder competition at the Last Chance Qualifier.
Yeah.
When you have the names that end in daughter in a competition and Chloe Wilson, and then someone comes out of nowhere, Elena coming out of nowhere to take second.
Yeah.
That's a huge feat.
Yeah, it is.
What are your thoughts of what she did? Because she won the French Throwdown, had 3 days to recover, and take second at the Last Chance Qualifier.
Yeah, that's sweet. I didn't even know that until I think Dylan had heard it from somewhere.
Yeah, I'm all in. Ever since Arielle made it to the games, I'm listening to all these podcasts, gathering all this information, and then basically spilling it on to Arielle. So I actually had listened to a podcast that she had done the French Throwdown and only had like 3-4 days to recover. And so I just mentioned that to Arielle, and she couldn't believe that she was able to go out there and still compete. And I think, a lot of people, from what I was listening to, anybody that did the French Throwdown, because I guess there were a few men that were also in the Last Chance Qualifier, they just kind of, even though they were good, they kind of wrote them off just because they had done such a vigorous amount of work a couple of days before the competition.
Yeah. I heard the same stuff, Dylan. And I think Kat's saying that Elisa, as is her name, she is much like you, where she just trains once a day.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's the secret.
You don't need to do a lot. You just need to do a little bit really intentional. At least that's what works for me. Athletes are different everywhere.
Yeah, high quality intensity gets you a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last question I had. Last question I have for you, Arielle, is you have an MBA,
Mm-hmm.
you have your real estate license, you have all these degrees. You were a stay-at-home mom before you made the games. Is there ever going to be a time where you're going to want to go back to work?
I would assume once Blakely's like in school and I have nothing to do all day, because I do like working and I like certain tasks, business-wise doing. But right now I'm making decent money. I feel like doing nothing. So I'm gonna let that continue as long as I can because it's like I'm living my dream life. Like I just I can't even believe it.
Are there thoughts in your mind that if you can keep this rolling for a couple years, that you can modify what a work life looks like? Like you don't have to
Yeah.
go back full time, or you can focus on something that you want to focus on instead of.
Yeah, totally. And I still can't wrap my head around the like how I get paid right now that I'm a considered a professional athlete. It just seems too unreal. But it, like let's say this continues for a few years. I don't want to say you're set, but it's a good income to just keep going for the rest for as long as you're allowed to.
Yeah, I don't think it's talked about a lot, but if you do it right, and
Right.
you're kind to people while you're doing it, like you'll always have a place to be a sponsor. It may not be what you are today, right? But you may be connected to a company or something in the future because of being nice to people today and people wanting to see you at events.
Mhm. Yeah, it'd be
And
awesome.
yeah, um, I have my MBA as well, so I'd like to think about the business side of things on that a little bit, and how you can take what you're doing as a professional athlete and twist it into a career
Right.
post athlete part.
Yeah.
And any thoughts of coaching or anything like that in the future?
I don't like coaching adults, so no adults. The only thing I would do that I enjoy is once we finish our house, maybe put a little gymnastics gym in the back and like coach children's gymnastics, but I don't CrossFit is my hobby and I don't want to mix work and hobby like that in any capacity. And adults don't listen. I find kids, you can tell them do a handstand, put your feet together, they'll do it. Adults will be like, "Oh, my handstand walks are horrible." And I'm like, "When's the last time you handstand walked?" 2 months ago, but they're not getting better. And I'm like, "You gotta get upside down." I enjoy working with kiddos.
Yeah. And Dylan, are you CrossFitting yet?
Uh, man, a little bit. Doing really all my CrossFit is what we do with the machines, but I do have a bet going on with my brother-in-law for the Open, and whoever ranks the highest wins $650 in the Open. So I am going to start preparing for that once my coach is done
Being an athlete.
being an athlete over at the games.
All right.
How can
Well,
I
we'll have
how
to have
can
you
I
back on to find
lose?
out how that goes.
Yeah, how
Yeah.
can I lose if she's my coach?
That's a good point. The only ways you can lose is if you don't listen to your coach.
Oh,
True, very
true.
true. Got him.
But he will help me train for the games, which I'm very thankful for. Yesterday I did a 12-mile bike ride and we have like a little loop around our place. So like I rode it 12 miles, he rode it
Four.
4 miles home. So he likes to dabble a little bit in there,
So so it was funny. I thought I was gonna put because we did
like 4-mile
4 mile
increments.
increments on a time trial. And so the 4 miles I rode home, I was like, man, I'm gonna dust her 4 mile time lapses. I beat her by 30 seconds.
And
And
he was fresh.
and I was fresh and I felt like I was going hard the whole time. I mean, I wasn't like fatigued or anything at the end. I just thought I was putting a good 4 mile run together. I thought I was hauling butt. And then we get there, I'm like, what did I get? Did I beat you by like 2, 3 minutes? And she's like, no, you got me by 30 seconds. I was super disappointed. Super disappointed.
She is a games athlete.
That's what I have to remind myself.
And now she's a 2-time games athlete.
That's right.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, guys, it is a blast as always. Thank you so much for jumping on.
Yeah, thanks for
I
having
love
us.
getting
You
to
know we
chat
love
with
it.
you.
Me too.
Appreciate it, man. Hope to see you at the games.
Yeah, I hope we get there.
Did you get your credentials yet? Because I heard you're fighting that right now.
We are supposed to hear tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. Awesome, man. Well, we'll have a prayer for it and be rooting for that to happen.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Yes, sir. No problem.